Hey guys, what's up? Sorry I haven't made a video in a while, but I'm back on my regular video schedule, and this week I'm going to be going for one video a day probably. But in this video, I'm going to be discussing the iPhone 4S and what Apple actually released at their conference next week. As you can see, today is Sunday, October 9th, and the conference actually was Tuesday of last week. And they did release a bunch of new things, and I'm going to be discussing the details right now. So, basically, at the WWDC, to begin with, Apple started talking about how more people are moving to Macs and buying OS X Lion, blah blah blah. iTunes and the iPod are doing well. The iPad is doing well as well. All the typical boring Apple stuff. But after that, they began talking about iOS 5. I have previous videos on iOS 5. I'm not sure if you guys saw them, but pretty much iOS 5 is going to be coming out October 12th, which is this Tuesday, Apple said. iOS 5 basically contains a new notification center to make it more unified in the iOS platform for text, missed calls, etc. There's going to be iMessage, which is basically BBM for iPhone. All your notifications are going to be pushed to all devices. There's going to be a reminders app that you can set reminders for yourself, and there's going to be integrated Twitter updates. It's going to be Newsstand, which is a new e-reader for iOS. Updated camera, you can use the buttons on the side of the iPhone as the camera button and also access the camera from the lock screen. There's going to be Game Center updates and Safari updates, mail updates, and you can update your device over the air. But those are the main updates in iOS 5. There are a few others that Apple did not mention outright, but you can look those up on Apple's website by just going to apple.com/iOS 5. From there, Apple moved on to talk about iCloud, which is basically going to be a free way to back up everything on your device wirelessly. Excuse me. Basically, if you guys know what Mobile Me was, basically Apple's made that free, and now you can use it on all your iOS devices. They also talked about Find My iPhone, which allows you to find your iOS device if it is lost, and iTunes Match, which basically finds all the artists and cover art and whatever of your iTunes library, which will be coming the end of October. And Find My iPhone will be coming on October 12th along with iCloud. And you will be able to have 5 gigabytes of free storage. So that's very cool. I'm looking forward to iCloud, and I had previous videos on that as well, so you can check those out if you want. Also, Apple talked about the iPods as they usually do in September or October in the fall. Basically, the iPod Nano didn't get too many updates. It's basically just going to be more of a clock. They actually added 16 new watch interfaces because more people wear the iPod Nano as a watch now, the touchscreen one, than they actually use it as an iPod apparently. So they added a lot more features to the clock. It's going to be $120, not too much difference there. And the other iPod, the iPod Touch, Apple actually talked about as being exactly the same, but they're coming in a white version too, and that's going to start at $199 as well. The iPod Shuffle didn't really get an update. iPod Classic didn't really get an update, and pretty much the iPod Nano and iPod Touch just had minor updates, which I was a little bit surprised about because I was expecting an updated camera on the iPod Touch, but I guess I can live with that for now. And finally, the iPhone 4S they released at this conference, and I know that's what most of you guys want to hear about. So overall, the iPhone 4S, I'll go to the actual page here on Apple's site. Go to the iPhone. You can see it looks basically exactly the same. It has the same design. It does have a dual-core A5 chip, which is 2 times faster and 7 times faster in graphics. As you can see here, it actually popped up on the website. It also has 8 hours of 3G talk time and a much better battery. They fixed the antenna, and now it's going to have better call quality. There is no 4G, though, which I was rather surprised about. I'll go to features here because the flipping is annoying me. But there was no 4G version. It's simply just a 3G as well with the same design. It's going to be both GSM and CDMA. They're not going to have 2 different versions. It's going to be a world phone, in other words. And probably one of the biggest updates is the new camera. Basically, the new camera, as you can see here, I'll scroll down to it, is actually a 8 megapixel camera with better flash, face detection, and 1080p full HD recording with stabilization, which is very, very good. That's one of the most powerful full HD. I've never seen a phone with a full HD camera on it before, so that's going to be one of the most powerful cameras on a smartphone. And also they're adding AirPlay mirroring, where whatever you record with the camera, you can simply hook it up to your TV and watch it on the TV in full HD, which is very cool. And then the next feature, which they basically talked about the entire time as being the biggest feature they released at this conference, was called Siri, as you can see here. Basically, what Siri is an advanced voice recognition system. It's basically adding to voice controls, and you can basically talk to your phone. As you can see in these photos, you can pretty much set alarms, ask weather, um, reply to text through your voice, set your phone to remind you when you need to do something through the Reminders app, search the web. Basically, you can do anything that you could do on your phone simply through your voice, and it's all hands-free, which is very cool. Apple touted this as one of the biggest features coming to the iPhone, and it really looks cool. I can't wait to test it out, and I'll have some reviews up on that later in the week. And finally, the 4S is going to be starting at 16 gigabytes at $200, and they did actually release it on Verizon, at&t, and Sprint. So Sprint is finally getting the iPhone for those of you who have been waiting for it for a while. Pre-orders started this Friday, which was the 7th. Today's the 9th, but you can actually order the phone on the 14th, which is Tuesday. And there is no iPhone 5 just yet, which I was a little bit disappointed on because this is a rather small update. We're going to have to wait probably till next year for the iPhone 5 to come out. But overall, it was a good conference. I'm not sure what I'm going to be buying yet because the iPod Touch, which I was planning on buying, is pretty much the same as the iPod Touch 4, which I currently have. And my upgrade for my phone is not quite there yet, so I'm not going to be purchasing this iPhone yet. If I did, I would wait until next year. But I will have reviews up on all these products when I get my hands on them anyway. But if you like this video, be sure to stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and also be sure to click the thumbs up button or the like button, and also subscribe for more videos on the iPhone 4S and all other Apple tech. And for more up-to-date updates, follow me on Twitter, which is in the description. Visit my website and bookmark it, which is also in the description, and like my Facebook page, which is in the description as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Let me know what you're going to be purchasing by leaving a comment. I really appreciate it. And yeah, later. Peace.